Finally got a new video up in here. Let's go. Alright, what's up everybody? It's Alex here, and today I'm discussing my plans for if I ever live stream any Need for Speed games. Here's the following I would stream. Starting with Need for Speed Underground. And I'm not going to go through the earlier games before Underground because I can always select it at random. But anyways, let's not talk about that. We'll talk about this. For Underground 1, we have the NB MX5 Miata, or just MX5 for any Europeans, or the Unos for my fellow Asian, for my fellow people in Japan. Next up is the Focus CX3. Would have liked to have the RS in there, but Focus CX3 is okay. Anyways, the Impreza, the first gen Impreza, is another thing I'll use. 240SX. I've heard it's pretty good in that game. The Supra. The RX-7, which is the fastest car in the game. And then we have the Skyline, which is also one of the fastest cars in the game. For Underground 2, Stage 1 in the Focus ZX3. I know I can get more money by doing in Rachel's 350Z, but I like to do it with my own vehicles instead of using someone else's car, so yeah. SV races, which are pretty much boring. We'll do the Cadillac Escalade, Stage 2, and Toyota Celica. Stage 3 in the Volkswagen Golf GTI. Not the Mark V, but the Mark IV. And I actually have two Stage 4 cars planned. The Mustang GT and the RX-7, and my final stage car is the Skyline. The GTR R34. Now for Most Wanted 05. Probably one of my favorite titles of Need for Speed games, besides Underground 2. And also this does not include handhelds. So, no handhelds. So, I have two choices for Blacklist number 15, Sunny. Choose the IS300 for, better handling and speed. No, just better handling. The Cobalt, better speed and acceleration, but kind of worse handling. And it's also cheaper. The next one, number 14, Taz. Tasmanian Devil. That was a horrible impression of the Tasmanian Devil, but I don't even care. Anyways, the thing I'm using is the Audi A3. What's happened? There. 3.2 Quattro. Number 13. Blacklist number 13. Vic. We're doing the Audi A4. And I've actually found an exploit with this car. In Most Wanted, it was actually the player's car when he was facing Razor in the cutscene near the end of the game. And it's infamous for the Junkman parts. Pretty ridiculous. Wow. Anyways, number 12, Izzy, doing the Supra. Could either be Vic's Supra, or I can buy one. And I can't remember all the cars' prices in Most Wanted. $40K. Number 11, Big Lou, or as Kamikaze Games calls him, Big Loser. That was just a terrible punchline, but that sounded cheesy, but whatever. Anyways, Mustang GT. Now, I actually beat the rest of the Blacklist members, even Razor, with the Mustang on my 360. And I thought that was actually pretty cool. Especially Blacklist number 9, which his sprint race is an absolute pain in the ass to do. Whatever. Number 10, Baron. And not Baron Praxis from Jak 2. So. And I've actually chose a pretty controversial one, the SL500. It's controversial because of how expensive the SL500 is in Most Wanted. But I've heard it's pretty good. And one YouTuber actually beat Razor with the SL500, which I found interesting. On Blacklist number 9, Earl. Not from My Name is Earl. Oh, either. God, I'm filled with a whole bunch of dad jokes and punchlines, but whatever. And Earl, his speed trap's easy, but the sprint race is just an absolute nightmare and a half to do. I'm so not kidding. I'd use the Porsche Cayman for its good handling and well-balanced speed and acceleration. Either be Barons or purchased from the dealership at 60,000 credits. Number 8, Jules. I'm using the Mazda RX-7. Even though it has gear less than most of the other cars in Most Wanted, it's actually pretty fast. Alright, Kaze. We're doing it in the Elise. Now, with the Elise, I've heard that the Elise is actually the fastest car in Most Wanted 05. Mainly because it's so nimble and light. But I wouldn't use the Elise in pursuits. It's not only a great it's a great racer, but it's actually a terrible choice for pursuits, besides the pursuit evasion. Number 6, Ming. And it with the 911 Carrera S. It's just as good as the Cayman is, but it's slightly faster. Number 5, Webster. This one's also kind of another controversial one, since I'm using the Viper to face Webster. You're like, why would you do that? Well, rivalry for the Viper and the Corvette still exists, so I'd figure, hey, I'm both on Team Viper and Team Corvette. Number 4, JV, Joe Vega. VEGA. Alright, Ford GT against Ronnie. Bull, number 2, with the SLR McLaren. Number 1, Razor, in the Porsche Carrera GT. Now, number 2 and number 1, they can both be transferred. Like, you could do the Carrera GT with Bull and the SLR with Razor. It won't matter, because they're both the best purchasable cars in the game besides the Elise and Murcielago. As for Carbon, I split each boss in the Carbon into 3 different categories, so let's begin. With Tier 1, the tuner in Tier 1. Once you select class S in a certain boss with a certain path, it'll just stay in Tier 1 and the others will be in Tier 2. So, yeah, just put a disclaimer there. Alright, so with Tier 1, with the tuners, I'm using the Mazda RX-8. Tier 2 Muscle with the Charger SRT-8. And Porsche Cayman S with Exotics. Angie with the and Kenji is in an RX-7. Kenji is in a Charger RT. My tuner being the RX-7. Tier 1 Muscle with the Camaro SS. And Tier 2 Exotic is the Cayman. And Wolf's TFK. Pretty powerful EB9. So Tier 2 Turner, RX-7, Tier 2 Muscle, Charger SRT-8, and the Tier 1 Exotic is in the Briera, probably the worst car in Carbon. It's not very fast, it has, however, decent handling, but this has horrible acceleration. And stacked deck. Alright, now we have stacked deck. Kenji. First one up is Kenji. This one was a little tricky to do, so that's why I have two choices there. The Evo X, if I get the Evo for free, Evo IX for free. Since Kenji already has a Lancer of his own. And Skyline, if I was actually doing a tuner path, the R34 Skyline. Viper SRT-10 against Angie and her Challenger Concept. And the Viper, for most of the canyons, is probably arguably the best choice for canyon duels because of how fast the Viper is and how quickly it accelerates. But the Viper is pretty tricky to drive, so. And Wolf in the Ford GT. And Darius, I put in the Lancer since the Lancer is probably the best choice against Darius since most cars are probably either way too slow to face Darius or just don't have the handling cuts to make it through Darius's canyon duel. And most wanted would be the pre-carbon M3 GTR. And the black edition of Most Wanted 05 is the Camaro SS. Post-carbon, we have the Le Mans Quattro, which is just like an R8. The Camaro Concept, the new GT500, the Roadrunner, the Chevelle, and the M3. Now, with Pro Street, Grip Class against Ray Krieger. Here's F3 E92. I have a Lancer and a Cobalt. I chose the Lancer since the Lancer's pretty quick on the road, and The Cobalt because of very good handling and decent acceleration. Drag with Carol Monroe. Against the Mustang GT. I decided to use the Camaro SS and my own Mustang GT. Camaro for the wheelies and Mustang for quick drag times. Then the Drift King, Aki Kimura, which I'll mention again later. In the RX-7 and the Corolla AEA6 GTS. Insert initial D there. Blah blah blah. The Speed King, Nate Denver, with the 65 GTO. I have no idea why he would use the GTO for the speed class, but I wouldn't recommend having this GTO in the speed class at all, since the GTO has it's got very poor handling, and it just does not stand, and speed cars do not stay on the road. I chose the Corvette C06 and the Viper SRT10. And now the Showdown King, Rio Watanabe, going against the Evo 10 Lancer. And I have 2 cars of each class here. GT and F1 for the speed, Charger RT and Camaro Concept for drag, RX-8 and GTO for drift, and the Skyline GTR and Supra for grip. Just had a yawn there. On Need for Speed Undercover. This one's crazy. How wacky this game is. Need for Speed Undercover, Tier 4 in the Camaro SS. Tier 3 in the Corvette C2 Stingray. Charger SRT8 Super B. And the Camaro Concept for Tier 3. Now for Tier 2, we have the Viper and the 911 GT2. Tier 1, Corvette C6 C06, and the Ford GT. Now for Hot Pursuit 2010. We have the Charger SRT as my main sports series car. Traffic Police Unit for where got the Crown Vic and the Police Interceptor, which is just a Taurus for Traffic Police Unit. You can both play as a racer and a cop for Hot Pursuit 2010. You can also do it in Hot Pursuit 2 and later in Rivals, which I'll also talk about later. Performance in the Camaro SS and Challenger SRT8. Highway Patrol in the GT500. And also Maserati Gran Turismo S. Super Series in the C6 Grand Sport and SL65 AMG Black Series. Rapid deployment with the Corvette C06 the Viper, and the GT500 Super Snake. Exotic, the Ford GT, Corvette ZR1, and Viper SRT and SRT10 ACR. Apparently I can't talk today. Speed Enforcement, the 177, the Continental Super Sports, and Sesto Elemento. And then the Hyper Series, the Koenigsegg CCX, the McLaren F1, and the Koenigsegg CCXR. Special Response Unit, the Gumpert Apollo, and the Veyron Super Sport. Need for Speed the Run. Now, Need for Speed Run, this one was a little tricky to do, since it's all, you just go immediately to Tier 4 and Tier 5 in the campaign mode, but the other tiers are in the challenge series. So what I do is El Camino SS for Tier 1, Mustang Boss 302 for Tier 2, the newer one, Cobra Daytona for Tier 3, Trans Am in Tier 4, Camaro SS Hunter for Tier 5, and the Huayra, not the Hyra, the Huayra for Tier 6. On to a long one. This one in 2012. Number 10 against the 4C E12 Vantage. Number 9 against the Cobra and the Challenger SRT 392. The SL65 AMG Black Series and the Mustang Boss 302. Number 7 against the LFA Cobra. Number 6 against the MP4 12C with the LFA. Number 5, 98 Spider Concept with the Viper GTS. This one, the Venador, the F1LM, Veyron Super Sport, and the Camaro the Corvette ZR1. Sorry about that. Huayra and the M3, also a most-wanted car. Most-wanted GT500 and the Charger RT. Most-wanted 9 Spire. Excuse me. Just yawning random. The GT500, the classic one. Most one M3 and the R34 R34, the underground version of it. And the most wanted Venom GT and the Zonda R. And the Huayra for most wanted the Jura R. I skipped 2015, the 2015 most wanted, 2015 Need for Speed game and the Rivals because they're both just terrible, honestly. Because UFC 2015 You're not playing online. You still need to be online for some stupid reason. You still need to be on PlayStation Network for some stupid reason. But anyways, for Payback and Rivals, it just has a terrible plot and terrible gameplay. Alright, so Need for Speed Payback against La Katrina and her 240. Io and his Carrera. Natalia Nova and her Huayra BC. A very ugly Huayra. I'm honest. I'm doing it in my Camaro. Now with the drift spec, this one only has 2. Underground Soldier. Aki Kimura makes a return in Payback. Instead of the RX-7 he had in Pro Street, he now has a Silvia S15. I like the RX-7 more, honestly. I'm using the 911 Carrera S993. Now for drag, Big Sister and Riot Club. Yeah, Underground Soldier and Aki Kimura. They're in Shift Lock and Noise Bomb. La Katrina's in Graveyard Shift. Gaio Riviera's in Silver 6. And the Wire BC is in the 1% Club. Natalia Nova's in 1% Club. Big Sister and Mitko Vasiliev of the Diamond Block. Using the Cougar XR7. Pretty fast drag car. Off-road in the C10 step side. Before that, I had to use the Defender. I used the Defender 110. Pretty fast little Ranger Land Rover. We're facing against Udo Rofe of League 73, Faith Jones of the Free Ember Militia, and Holtzman from Hazard Company. For the runner missions, we're going against the House and Lair of the Police. We're using the Mustang GT65. Now Nova is in the Huayra BC, Gaio's in the Porsche, the 911 Carrera. La Katrina is in Graveyard Shift. Oh, hey, Melly. I'm doing good, Melly. Underground Soldiers and R32 Skyline with the front that looks like an R34. I mentioned that Aki's in the S15 Sylvia. Big Sister's also in the Mustang. Mitko Vasilie's in the GTR R35. Which is actually pretty quick and as a drag car. Udo Roth and the Impreza R3 WRX STI hatchback. Faith Jones is in the F-150 Raptor, which is only in one spec in Payback, which sucks, but whatever. And Holtzman, the C10 step side. And Speedcross, which which I probably will not be doing in Payback, because I think it's just more than eye candy. Going against Barracuda and the Infiniti Q60S. I just used the Mini Cooper, the JCW Countryman, and Need for Speed Heat. Need for Speed Heat is pretty much a mess. Day or night, it's still a mess. On road, I used the Charger RT. The Camaro SS is my race car. The S2000 for a drift car. And off-road will be in the Bel Air. And that's about it for the stuff, but we still got your Street 2015, which I'll briefly mention. Yeah. New Street 2015, that game was just fucking, its plot was just fucking stupid, in my opinion. Anyways, 2015 speed missions. I would use the M3 E92. Style missions. I do with the Focus RS. Build missions. Use the Ford Roadster. Crew Mustang GT65. Finally, with Outlaw, I will do it with the Fox Body Mustang. As for Need for Speed Rivals, it'll just be split in two different things, Racer and Cop. Rivals is also pretty fucking stupid, honestly. Do F12 Berlinetta, why not? Top, we need the Corvette C7. Alright, so yeah, go through, look at it one more time. Oh yeah. Charles in the V28, the new model. Mercer in the Ford Explorer Police Utilities SUV, and Layer in the M3. X is an NR32 Skyline. And oh yeah, the M3 we'd win if we complete all the road missions. Or campaign missions, why I say. All the race missions will be awarded A Skyline. All the drift missions will be 350Z from Underground 2. And drifting in Need for Speed Heat is just absolutely horrible. It's just, drifting in Heat is just completely awful. Yeah, and Roshni is an off-road, and we get Ember Fate's F-150 Raptor. And Roshni's in the Colorado, new Colorado ZR2. And between me and Drift is Wayne. He has an RX-7. So yeah, I think that's about it for talking with the Need for Speed cars. This is Alex Bentley saying sayonara. Please like, subscribe, and peace. Bye bye, everybody.